Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Total Truth Show. And here on the Total Truth Show, we want to help you break free from the lies and propaganda of the mainstream media, all the disinformation and misinformation. We want to help you blast through all of that. And my name is Ken Kleinberg, coming to you all the way from the USA, San Diego, California.
And I'm Aldwyn Altuney, known as the Media Queen from the Gold Coast in Australia.
There is a great awakening happening in the world right now, and you're going to want to come along for the ride.
A lot of lies are coming to the surface. There's a lot of awakening happening, and as this awakening is happening, people realize they've been deceived for years. They've been lied to for years around all sorts of things. A lot of people have been blind to what has been going on in the world, and now they're starting to see. They're starting to see things in a different light.
Through our show, we want to raise global consciousness to quantum critical mass. And we don't want you just to accept the things that we're saying. That goes for our guests as well. We want you to do the research for yourself. Get out there and start questioning things. Start looking things up. Do the research. We want to pave the way for a new awakened world. And we want you to come along for the ride. So with that, let's get started, you guys. Let's dive into today's episode. Once again, welcome.
Welcome to Total Truth Show, episode 118. The truth about the self-love affair is our topic today. Ken Kleinberg, my co-host, and I have had about a 6-week break or so. We've been missing you guys. Have you been missing us? Yes, I know. Thank you so much. Give us your love in the chat. Love to know where are you joining us from today. We have a hot episode for you. I love this topic, self-love. Carol Robinson is with us, our special guest. So excited about this topic today. So when we start, we do invite you, whether you're joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you are, we invite you to join in the conversation. We love for this to be an interactive show. So if you do have any questions for us, then please let us know. Hey, Corinda, good to see you. Oh, we miss you lots too, Corinda. So good to see you there. Hello. Let us know, where are you joining us from right now in the world as well. We'd love to hear from you. All right, now about our guest before we get into the topic here today. Now, Carol Robinson is fairly new to the Gold Coast. She was in the northern New South Wales area up until recently. She's got over 15 years of experience working with clients and has worked with and guided many women through life's transitions with compassion and clarity. Her journey includes facilitating personal development events, providing private mentoring, and recently becoming a qualified personal trainer, which I know Ken would love, being a fitness freak as he is. I know Ken loves, he's always at the gym, aren't you, Ken? Supporting women, not only emotionally and spiritually, but physically too. As a self-love mentor and personal trainer, Carol's work blends mind, body, and soul, creating a whole self approach to wellness that nurtures inner growth, physical strength, and emotional freedom. Her business is actually called the Self-Love Affair, and she is doing a women's circle event for free if you're on the Gold Coast or in the region this Saturday, the 29th of November at 2 p.m. at the amazing Hippocrates Centre in Madrabar. Fantastic free event from 2 till 4 p.m. this Saturday. So she'll talk more about that through this show as well. Welcome, Carol.
Yay, thank you for having me. This is fantastic. I love that intro. You sometimes go, wow, that's me, isn't it? All the things that I've done. It's good to reflect, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, we've got beautiful Elizabeth Ray with us. Hello, outside Bumbles. Oh, I love Bumbles. Such a great location. It is stunning here on the Gold Coast. And Ken Kleinberg, of course, it's very cold where you are, isn't it, Ken, at the moment with your, you've got the beanie on, and here I am sweating with, hormonal issues and not doing the HRTs because they can be very dangerous, but that's a whole other topic. So self-love, oh my gosh, so important, this topic. Now, why is it important for you, Carol? How did you start on this journey?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So years ago, like you mentioned, I was in northern New South Wales and I was raising my family, married, and I had a beauty business. So I was a waxing beautician and a makeup artist. So, and therefore I was in contact with a lot of women. During that time, I went through a divorce. So I had some challenges and adversity happen. And it forced me, I wouldn't say forced, but it awakened me to start looking within a little bit more, because it was unwanted change in my life. And like all grief, I grieved that relationship, but it was unwanted change. And I had to really start to feel more secure within myself of who I am, because I was, raised by two parents that never went through a divorce. And so for me, it was, it came across with feelings within myself that I had failed. And, I've failed at something, and why is this happening to me? I still remember the realization of it. And little did I know in hindsight that it was actually going to send me on a path which was far, far better for me in the long run. So I had a beauty salon at the time, and I started to go into personal and spiritual development to find out more about myself and how to take true ownership of my life, have ownership, responsibility, and accountability for everything, and not be the victim of what had happened. And so I started doing all this development, and I found that I was helping the women when they would come in, as you would know, if you're at the hairdressers or the barbers, Ken, is some place where you are in someone's personal space. They like to tell you that they're more vulnerable, so they like to open up. And so it worked both ways for me on that journey. But I was doing this, all these courses and things, and the women were coming in, for example, to get their legs waxed, and they would walk out with a little waxing strip with me writing things on it of how to take ownership of your life. And I really loved being able to help people make better choices if that's what they were seeking from me. So when I opened up my shopfront salon, a friend and I decided, let's do a women's circle. So I had waxing and makeup going on during the daytime, and one evening of the week we would have a women's circle. So I was able to say to these amazing women that were coming up that had challenges, look, why don't you come along on Tuesday night to Rise? It's called Rise and Shine. Come along to Tuesday night, and I think you'll really get a lot out of it. And I then ended up having guest speakers come in to talk about particular topics. And from there, it just flourished. COVID hit, the pandemic, my business was closed down. And then I went online as a self-love mentor. So my business was called Carol's Place, Inspiring Inner and Outer Beauty. But what I realized on that journey was that it wasn't the outer beauty that was interesting me anymore. It was the inner beauty. So when my business was closed down, that's what I wanted to go to, was the inner beauty. So I created a website and all about self-love, and I took clients on. And then once things settled down, I was having some clients face-to-face as well. And it was a really interesting time in my life, because I found that it was more fulfilling. It brought me joy. It brought so much joy to my life to be able to help others in a more positive way. It wasn't about, I gave so many women private one-on-one lessons about makeup when I was a beautician, but part of that, what I introduced to that makeup lesson was, how do you feel if you don't have makeup on? So I started going into the inner part of it, can you walk down the street? Can you go to the shops and feel that you're still your amazing, beautiful self, regardless if you have makeup on or not? So it was quite an interesting topic, but I just found it more fulfilling to go to the inner. And so it's mind, body, and soul. I've done so many things to do with energy healing. I studied with a group in Europe called the Neuromindfulness Institute, which is a blend of neuroscience and mindfulness and stress reduction. And then I also then studied to become a personal trainer in the last couple of years. And that brought the body part into it, mind, body, soul. And that's where I am today. So I'm a personal trainer at a gym, but I also am online with my programs as well, and the mindset programs too.
I think it's amazing that you handle what you handle around makeup and then go into the inner self. And here's what I'm going to add to that on why that is so cool. There's so much coming out nowadays on the chemicals that they put in makeup. And now your skin, which is an organ, is now absorbing that, and it's disrupting the hormones in your body. It's disrupting your systems. It's disrupting everything. Um, and so I think it's just so perfect that you teach and help women to go on the inner side and make that beautiful. So if they're not wearing makeup out there, they still feel beautiful. Aldwyn's a perfect example of this. I've told her many of times she does not need to wear makeup. She looks beautiful just the way she is. But anyhow, so that's my 2 cents on that. I love your angle on that, and I love how you're empowering women on that.
Oh, thank you, Ken. Look, it is a very interesting topic because, I'm 54, so I was raised in, generation where we were looking at magazines. This is before internet, before social media, but those magazines were also photoshopped. The woman that was on the front, she was, had a, her face painted, or like her waist cropped in. It was all, so it was the same thing that was happening years ago, which places women into this space of comparison and never feeling enough. But to know that you are enough, you don't need to compare. It's a really strong thing in your mind to not live by that narrative. It's an actionable skill to practice not living by that when that's the way that we've been raised. And it's a really deep topic. And you're right with the other side to it too. What is it that we're putting onto our skin? 100% right there, Ken. It's all these different variables go into play. And look, I've got a little bit of makeup on today, and as I was putting it on, I was thinking, well, I am on live here. I've got my dangly earrings in and all of these things, and the bottom line subconsciously is that, well, am I want to be loved. I want to be accepted. I want to be seen as like, oh, this is, she's good. She's good. And it's still really hard to get out of that. Many years ago as well, I used to be a professional water skier. So I was in shows and wearing lycra on a stage. and it was, we were recognized, a little bit for our talent, but it was also very much, behind the scenes, we were popped on the scales as well. How much are you weighing in this month? And, and that causes a whole other thing of, body image as well, that came into it. So I've had different things in my life of, the external beauty, the external things that you need to do to make you feel that you are loved and accepted. But you don't need to do that. And I'm finding that nowadays in the gym. I've recently started at the gym, face to face, and the women that I'm coming in contact with, they're all different personalities, all different backgrounds, all different stories, and it's an incredible space to be in, actually, very inspiring. And and it's not losing weight anymore. I say to them, please, we're not going to even say those words. We're going to change our body composition. We're going to change the body composition. We want strong. We want a strong body. Everything else will happen after that. You don't need to worry about all the other stuff. You just got to think, let's just get a strong body, because it's a minefield.
It is. I kind of want to add into that a little bit. So a little bit about myself here. So my brand is called Mastery Weight Loss. And I want to kind of explain that for a second, because I know you kind of went into a different mind frame around weight loss. And I do like your approach on that as well. I can see how empowering that is. But why did I make my brand Mastery Weight Loss? Well, to figure that out, key into the word mastery. And I think you'll appreciate this. Because it's no longer, so number one, I absolutely abhorred diets. The diet system out there that is $1 trillion industry, and it's actually built on failure. Yeah, you heard that right. It is built on failure because they are banking on the fact you're going to come back. It is a broken system, so it cannot be just about weight loss anymore. It must now be about mastery. It must now be about owning the journey. It's not about a or the perfect plan. Why? Because you now become the plan. It's about becoming. So I don't know if you know anything about my story, but basically I've lost 62.5 pounds and I've kept it off for 7+ years now. What I teach people is, how do you keep the weight off once you've lost it sustainably and easily? Well, number one, it's the becoming process. So that's the inward journey. When you go on a diet and you go to lose weight on a diet, those programs literally skip the transformation that needs to happen on the inside so that when you reach that goal, you permanently stay there easily. You don't think about it, and it's sustainable. So there's a lot of things that I teach in my program, a lot of mindset things, but one of the key cornerstone and key pillars of my program is teaching that inward transformation that must happen in order for you to stay there at the goal. If somebody were to ask me, what's your secret? Well, I would say that's the secret, because every change in my journey that I took had enough time to sink in and become part of who I was, and automatic. That's the key. That's what the diet culture and the diet industry hides from you. But that's the key.
100%. 100% agree. And creating what I call a roadmap to the future with a client, that's where it's at. This is not a quick fix thing anymore.
No.
And that's the generation that we were brought up in. Well, my generation was. It's like the 12-week diet. Let's do it. And all your problems will be solved after that. It's not. No, they're not, because then it's yo-yoing, isn't it? Up and down, up and down, up and down.
Exactly.
So it's definitely a journey. And a big part of that journey is having self-compassion. Having compassion for self along the way. And that's an ingredient into the self-love hate.
One of the things that I'm going to add into that. So during the process that my clients go through with me, one of the questions I'll ask them, and I love asking this question because I love watching the reaction on the other side of the screen when it finally sinks in and they're like, oh, okay, no. So here's the question. What if God, most of my clients are Christian, what if God were as patient with you as you are with yourself? Right? That kind of hits. So that's one of the key pillars that I teach, is it's patience over perfection. It's not about perfection. It's patience, because there is a transformation process that must happen, and it's not an overnight thing. So anyhow,
yeah, I always I do a little hashtaggy thing on my social sometimes, chasing progress, not perfection.
Yes.
It's progressing. That's what it is. It's just like, okay, well, this is my lifestyle now. You know, I can talk about this topic forever, but with the society now, especially in our culture, it's very, sedentary, and it's all made about comfort. We're fed from media about, fear and lack, and it's made to be comfortable. I always laugh, and I got this from reading a book called sorry, I've got a mental blank. The Evolution of Exercise by Professor Lieberman. Excellent book. And he talks about, going on an escalator. So even near the gym I work at, if I'm to go to the shops, I've got 3 choices of how to get up to level 1. I can take the escalator, the elevator, or the travelator. Oh, sorry, I forgot the 4th one, the stairs.
The stairs. I was like, where's the stairs? Wait a minute.
But get this. The thing is that people will go on those first 3 choices. most people would use those first three choices, and then they'll have their gym membership. So they come into the cardio room to go on the Stairmaster. It doesn't make sense to me. So humans are so funny with like, we've created all these comforts, but yet there's also machines being created, which is against the comfort. It's just, yeah, bit of a funny old shaking your head there,
It
Ken.
is mind blowing. It is mind blowing. It's so funny. One of the beginning things that I taught, like for example, when you're trying to get in more steps during the day and different things like that, one of the easiest things you can do is park further away. You know, I'm guilty of this too. So when I go to the gym, I always like to find the closest spot. But if you're looking to get in more steps, don't look for the closest spot. Park at the end of the parking lot. Your car is better protected that way because people don't ding the side of your car. And walk to the store, to work, and different things like that. You get in more steps and exercise that way. Just the little simple things that we often miss because we're looking for convenience.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's funny because lately I park in row C. Always park in row C, even if there's no one in row A or B, because I know when I come out there, C stands for Carol, and I won't be able to forget where I've parked.
I love
Oh,
that.
that's a good idea. Great idea. Oh, I'm loving this conversation. Now, I just want to backtrack a little bit to the makeup conversation because,
Yeah.
it is a concern what is in the makeup products. You know, even when they say it's vegan or environmentally friendly, I mean, you don't really know, do you? I think there's a lot of trust issues. You know, it's also like when you buy free range eggs, for example, for those that do buy free range eggs, apparently free range is not what we think is free range. And a lot of these chickens are in big barns and don't see the sunlight, and, you know, they might be free range in the barn, but, you know, they're not getting any sunlight or not getting any, you know, food other than pellets, which is probably full of antibiotics and all sorts of
That's
other.
why it's about pasture raised.
Right, pasture raised in America, yeah,
Yes.
and you know, and that's why so many people now in Australia are wanting their own chickens.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a whole other thing. And so the makeup conversation. Now, I've done many live stream videos with no makeup. Right, I'm very comfortable with no makeup. And there's other times I just want to wear makeup. Now, it's interesting because I work in the marketing and branding space. I've had other sort of marketing or branding experts say to me, "Oh, you should always have makeup on, right? You know, if you're gonna show up, you need to make sure you show up as your best all the time, and your best involves wearing makeup." Now, this, of course, is someone else's point of view. This is not necessarily my point of view. And however, I do find that when I do wear makeup, I do actually feel that little bit more confident, interestingly, even though I don't need to wear makeup. I find sometimes I just feel a little bit better about myself, even though we don't need makeup. So it's just noticing the things that you do. Or, you know, when I go for my beach walk in the morning, I have a beach walk, I have a swim in the ocean, I feel better because I have moved my body, I've grounded myself, I've got into the salt water. You know, when I meditate, I feel better. So that's what I'd like to say about that. So for those joining us now, and I know some guys wear makeup too. I mean, back with, you know, I used to love The Cure when I was young. The Cure was one band I absolutely loved, and Robert Smith, of course, the singer, always used to wear makeup, and now, of course, you know, guys are wearing makeup all the time. So whether you're male or female, well, some guys are, right? Whether you're male or female, I'd love to hear from you. Do you wear makeup every day? If you're mostly female, do you wear makeup every day? And how do you feel when you're not wearing makeup? So I'd just love to hear from you. Sorry, I've got some background noise. So how do you feel when you're wearing makeup or not wearing makeup? That's the first thing. And the other thing, you're talking about weight loss or getting stronger. Now, I like to say you're toning your body up. This is what I like to say. I'm toning my body up. And one way I like to tone my body up is to have fun with my exercise. So I do things like Zumba. I love to do yoga, for example. Now, I don't do high impact. I used to do sort of, you know, years ago, I used to do a lot of boxing classes and, you know, high impact running around like a crazy woman. And often I'd find I'd put my back out or I'd throw my legs out, and then I couldn't exercise for a few weeks because it was just too full on for my body for what I wanted. Plus, I wanted some more relaxation around my exercise because I find with my media business, it's go often. So I found that with exercise, exercise. It needs to be something that's going to be relaxing for me and something that's going to be enjoyable. So with weight, whether you call it weight loss, making your body stronger, toning your body up, whatever you call it, the thing is with weight gain, now not only does it happen more as we age, but what I find is that we put it on in layers. We need to take it off in layers, which of course is not going to happen overnight. And my background, I have a European background, and we ate a lot. We loved our food. Food and love went very closely hand in hand, right? And I've found as I've got older that I've noticed consciously that I've had a little bit of a emotional eating thing that can happen, where sometimes I sort of reward myself for work that I've done by eating, and then sometimes eating late at night when I know it's not so good to eat late at night. And I've been more conscious around this. So I'd love to talk about this now, about eating and self-love, and eating, what types of food to eat for self-love. So Carol, what are your thoughts about self-love and the types of food that you consume?
Straight away, I just think whole foods. There's so many things like, going into a supermarket and, and I was guilty of this, for many years as well. But, you go down all the aisles, anything packaged, anything with numbers on it, like what are you putting into your body? Like go back to, meat, your vegetables, some fruit, like as whole as you can.
She said meat. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud that you said meat. Thank you.
Yeah, I love a good steak. So, and some good chicken as well, even though I love chickens as animals. So that's, yeah. But for me, that's protein, right? So with this topic, there's a few different variables going on here. Food and self-love is, when you go to purchase something to eat, just even if you say to yourself, will my body thank me right now? Will my body thank me for this? Even hydration, drinking enough water, like our body's just made up of hydrated cells. They need to be hydrated, especially for our brain, like as opposed to having, what we call, a soft drink or a soda or a pop or whatever. No, go for the water instead, like way, way better. Will my body thank me? Yes, it will. So going into the soil and sugar, I've been a sugar addict, a lot of people they love that sweet treat, but go for the piece of fruit or, something instead to fulfill that craving. Personally, the sugar industry, I don't believe should even exist. It causes so many health issues, so many. And, obviously this is another, someone's making a lot of money out of this, and it just shouldn't exist. The same, I mean, we're going down a rabbit hole now, same as, tobacco stores. Like they've all been linked to disease. Why do they even exist?
You're hitting so many topics right now that I'm like writing down. I want to add to this, I want to add to that, and I want to add to this. It's like, especially like the tobacco industry, I've got a whole different angle on the tobacco industry that I could talk about as well. But basically, in a nutshell, what a lot of people don't know and is still widely unknown is back in the 1980s and the 1990s, when their profits were declining because it was becoming well known that cigarettes were not good for you, that it's not a good practice to have, it's not a good habit, their profits were declining. So they had to make some kind of shift to save the company. What did R.J. Reynolds and Philip Morris do? They began buying up the big food companies. And now the same scientists and researchers, and by the way, by the 1990s, R.J. Reynolds and Philip Morris became the biggest food company in the world at that time. And the same researchers and the same scientists that work hard to make cigarettes addictive were now assigned to the food sector. So what's behind all that packaged and pre-made food and all the stuff is literally perfectly designed ingredients to bring people to a perfect bliss point, not above, not below, which hooks people into addiction. So you were talking about emotional eating. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is I see a lot of people come through my world and they're beating themselves up over emotional eating. They think they're the problem. They think they're broken. And the reality is no, you're not. It is an industry that's been stacked against you. And what you don't know is that industry created that problem inside of you.
100%.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. I don't feel so bad now about my emotional eating. Thank you, and I appreciate that. But the thing is that it's important to get conscious and notice how do you feel after you eat certain food. Now, I know I am wheat intolerant because every time I have bread, I feel tired. I feel whereas if I have sort of gluten-free bread, I feel a lot better. Or if I have, sometimes sourdough, not so bad. Like there's certain types of breads that I'll eat that I won't feel so heavy and I won't feel like I just want to sleep and I won't feel so bloated, so just noticing how you feel, as much as I love bread, just notice how you feel after certain foods. And, I'm 99% vegetarian. I've had a lot of trouble eating meat, and particularly chicken, since I've had some chickens. I find it very hard to eat chicken now. And so, whereas Ken is very much probably 99% a meat eater, just about. We've talked about this topic before. And so, whichever way you go, like Corinda here is saying, I hate veg and fruit, right? Whereas I love veg and fruit. And, some people might say, well, the blood type diet, like I'm an A type diet, which is more vegetarian. The O type diets are meant to be more, or O blood types are meant to be more meat eaters. And again, these are all people's opinions and beliefs, but what feels right for you? And does that make you feel better about yourself or worse about yourself? And the self-love affair. Now, if you're single, like I have self-love affairs with myself all the time. I'm always loving myself and taking myself out on dates. And it was interesting because earlier today I was on a planning workshop with one of my mentors, and they were talking about making time for date nights, right? And I was thinking, well, I make time for date nights with myself all the time. I take myself to the movies. I take myself out to lunch. I buy myself gifts. I'm doing the self-love affair all the time, and I think, well, I've got, 2 rescue cats and I've got 6 rescue chickens, and I have an affair with them as well. Sort of like a love affair. I'm not sort of sleeping, nothing sexual, of course, but the loving my animals. There's the self-love affair happening there as well. So, it's very, very interesting. We talk about this topic, the self-love affair. Now, Carol, why did you call it the self-love affair?
Because I remember it came to me, I was actually living in England at the time. I went, oh yeah, that sounds really hot and steamy. And that's what we should be having with ourselves as an affair, like making the time to feel the joy, feel the pleasure of life. I'm not, not just sexually, but the pleasure of life as well. Like this morning, same thing as you, Aldwyn. I went and had a quick walk on the beach. I I needed to just reconnect, and I love the water going over my feet, that just all those feelings of mindfulness, and that's what brings me joy. And like when you are filling your cup, and when you are feeling joy and happiness inside of you, then you can respond to the challenges in a more self-loving way. You're at capacity where you can do that. If you're not looking after yourself, especially after major life change, like, divorce, or the children leaving home, or, a death of someone close, you're going through grief or whatever. It's oddly enough, they're the times the nervous system is really impacted and we don't look after ourselves enough. But you need to actually start to waken up and make those conscious choices of, like, am I drinking enough water today? Am I eating nutrient dense food? Am I going to bed early? Am I getting good sleep? Am I doing these things? That's the self-love affair. Are you doing these little things to keep filling your cup, your non-negotiables in life, so that you are the best version of yourself, majority of the time? And I totally get, I'm human. And, some days aren't always like, sunshine and rainbows, but also too, when those days come, it's also nice to know that, okay, I need to sit in this day. I need to sit with these, feelings of, I can dip my toe down to being a victim every now and then, but that's okay. I need to sit in that today. I need to feel the emotions that are going on with that. I need to cry. I need to, go for go and do some exercise to burn off the frustration that's in me or something. Yeah, it's important that you sit with it. Don't bypass it, not toxic positivity here. It's actually sitting in it as well. But then make sure that, the next day or the next day that you're not sitting in that anymore, and that you're getting out and filling your cup in just tiny little ways. I had a client when I first started mentoring. She had 2 young children, and and she was a solo parent. And I said to her, "What brings you joy? What brings you joy?" And she sat there and she just went, "I've never thought about that before." I said, "Is there anything in your day that, that makes you feel happier, that lights you up?" She goes, "I guess, yeah, my kids." And I said, "No, but what about you? What brings you, what's specific to you that brings you joy?" And after working with her for a few weeks, we started creating a list of joy. And on her list, she realized what brought her joy was to wake up before her 2 little ones woke up, to make herself a cup of tea and go and sit on her little balcony and listen to the birds. That's what brought her joy. And so we nutted it down to these tiny little things that you can do every day that are your non-negotiables, that bring you joy, that fulfill you, so that when the big challenges suddenly come out of left of field, you're like, "Radio, it's okay. I'm more secure in myself. I'm not a nervous wreck. I've been looking after me. I'm looking after my body, and I know how to sit back, observe, get curious about the challenge that's being presented, and move forward in the best way that's going to suit me." An amazing mentor of mine used to say the saying all the time: "Learn to be selfish in a non-selfish way." Learn to be selfish in a non-selfish way. So just, we've got to put ourselves first. And especially from my experience as a woman, and being a mother as well, nurturing, whether it's human babies, fur babies, feathered babies, we are nurturers. And we give and we give and we look at, and then we're like, hang on, who are we? Who are we? And especially if you've been involved in, long-term relationship with somebody, and, and the children that you've raised together, what they leave home, it's just like, well, who am I? Who am I? Like, and is it okay? Is it okay that I take myself on that date? Yes, it is. It is okay to take yourself down to the coffee shop and order a cappuccino with, a treat, and whatever your treat is, and have that, and go, yeah, I'm here for me. It is okay to go to the supermarket and buy yourself a beautiful bunch of flowers so that you can display them in your home because they bring you joy. It's okay to do that. We don't have to do it for other people all the time.
Yes. Yeah, I love that, Carol. Absolutely. 100% agree with that. And, we also are brought up in this society where a lot of people think unless they're in a relationship, they can't be happy if they're not in a relationship, right? And that someone else is going to suddenly fill up their love cup and they're suddenly going to feel amazing once they're in a relationship. And this is where, people have these roller coaster rides, in relationship. Now I do believe life is for sharing. Like, my parents have been together 55 years. They wouldn't know life without each other, whereas I've never married or had children. My brother's been married 26 years, 4 children, etc. And I think fantastic, for people that have been in long relationships and that it's going well. However, when I look at that, I don't know one long relationship where there hasn't been ups and downs in that relationship, because you've got, 2 completely different human beings coming together, saying, let's do life together. So, it's an interesting thing, this whole, self-love affair, because truly I believe if you want to be in a great relationship with someone else, you have to have that self-love first for yourself. So you're not actually leaning on the other person, looking for the other person to fill up your love cup, to make you feel better, because no one can make you feel better. You're the only one who can make you feel better. And, this is the thing, is a lot of people are not conscious to that. And they can be very controlling of the other person in a relationship. Talk about the 7-year itch, interestingly. My longest relationship is 7 years, interestingly, as well. Fancy that. So that's one to potentially beat. I'm not saying I'm not open to being in a relationship with someone again, because I definitely am. I would love to be in a relationship again with someone who's like-minded. But I think the older I've got, the more choosy I have become with who I want to spend my time with, who I want to hang out with. And I know going into a new relationship takes a lot of time. And time for me right now, I have a lot going on in my life, and including aging parents. And right now, that's more important for me right now than jumping into a relationship with someone or spending hours and hours getting to know someone where potentially it might not go anywhere. And I've done years and years of online dating too, which can really take a hit on your self-love as well, because what can happen is you really notice, you get your hopes up, you get on the online dating sites, you think, oh, this person's amazing, and and then you get ghosted, or things like that happen, and that can really take a hit for a lot of people. That can really affect people's mental health. And I've had 4 friends who've suicided, and one of them I actually met through online dating, and we never did anything sexually, but we were just great friends. But I would say the online dating world wouldn't have helped his depression that he had, and this feeling of because he didn't have much self-love for him, so he was always looking for that outside of himself, and not conscious of that either. And that's the thing, is just getting conscious about that.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head, actually, looking outside of yourself, because it's actually, you are love. You are love. And then when you're vibrating at a high vibration, you're happy, you're joyful, you're filling your cup, that energy will attract the right person. And I think it's also very important. A marriage counselor said this to me once: not all relationships are meant to last. However, once again, we were raised with the thing of, when I was at school, it was like, Carolyn so-and-so sitting in a tree, K-I-S-S-I-N-G. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes pushing the baby in the carriage. I remember it at primary school clearly, and we used to joke with that. So therefore, that's conditioning already when you're younger. That's the path you've got to take. And if that doesn't work out, there's something not right. Now I know married couples that have been married for years, beautiful people, but they can be in a sexless marriage. They can be not happy with the relationship, but they're stuck. I heard a saying the other day: the certainty of misery is far more appealing than the uncertainty. The certainty of misery is far more appealing than the uncertainty. And so just because you're in a marriage for 30 years doesn't mean that you're a better person than the person that has had, several beautiful relationships in their life that they have grown from, gained wisdom from, learned more about themselves from. So it's not to compare. Everyone's journey is different. We're here to learn what we're here to learn in this lifetime. But same things, so many different variables, especially with the online dating world. So the only thing I can say there is, take the pressure off. Take it off. Take the pressure off. Just come back to you always. Be curious when you get triggered. I'm not mentoring you here, Aldwyn. I'm just saying, but get. I didn't want it to come across like that. Get curious, like when you are triggered by something, or have I got my heart closed to possible outcomes? Am I using a story from the past? Am I dragging that story into my future? Can I create exactly what I want for my life, so that I'm in a state of my life where I'm fully thriving and I'm happy and I'm joyful. It's a really great place to be. I've been
Yes.
really feeling it a lot of late, and I know then I'm on the right path, you know. So it's easy to grab hold of a narrative when it comes to sharing your life with somebody else when entering a relationship. I've actually got a masterclass online. It goes for an hour. It's about relationships, and it just teaches you more. Basically, the whole bottom line of it is self-love, and knowing how to create a healthy boundary in that if need be. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, I love that. So if we really break that down, what is self-love? Now, a very close girlfriend of mine, a lady called Tracy Corman, she runs a matchmaking business called Two's Company. And in fact, she's celebrating her 30-year anniversary of Two's Company, which is awesome. She said to me, all the love you have for others is also there for you. I'll never forget it. All the love you have for others is also there for you. So we are love. We come from love. And yet for so many people, how we've been conditioned through all the fairy tales, through Hollywood, is that, when you have a partner, then you'll be happy. And I remember even, I have quite a full-on sort of European background. I have Greek, Turkish, Ukrainian background. And I remember when I was in my 30s, I remember my uncle and my dad was saying to me, oh, you're not getting any younger, you need to find a man. And, there was all this sort of, you're not getting any younger business. And here I am at 51 and, never married, no kids, and not getting any younger clearly. But I feel amazing at 51, even though, I get the hot flushes and I feeling hot all the time with my hot flushes. And it's like, okay, well, my body's doing what it's doing at this stage in my life. And it's interesting, Carol, you work with a lot of women at different stages of their life. Now, it's an interesting thing when a woman comes to 50, it is a massive shift when you start to get into the menopausal stage. And menopause means pausing men to me, like men putting men on pause, right? Men on pause. Well, that's certainly been the situation for me, at least for a little while I learned to deal with my hot flushes. So what would you say to people who are in transition at this transitional stage where, we can't control the fact that we're all getting older, right? Every single year, really every day is a blessing because, so many people die every day around the world. So every day on the planet is a blessing. And as we get older, a lot of people don't handle it so well. So what do you say to people who are in that transitional stage, particularly women?
I'd say stop looking at, for one, any anti-aging stuff, because we're going to age, right? We're going to age, and we can do it so beautifully if we're more in contact with ourselves. We're more accepting of ourselves. And know that, going through the perimenopause and postmenopause, that's a rite of passage for a woman. It's an incredible part, like we're born with all our eggs, and our eggs are, they're slowing down. Our estrogen's dropping. Our eggs are, going to be no more in this time. And so therefore we're not releasing anymore because we don't have any more. Let's celebrate all those years of, what our body has done for us. Celebrate it. There's, our body is our vehicle. It's gotten us around all this time. It's incredible. The other day at the gym, I was speaking to an 85-year-old lady, and she's amazing. And then the next time she came in, I went and helped her with adding a few more exercises to her program. And she was pulling just as much weight as what the girl in her mid-20s was, earlier in the week, because she's got mature muscles. Her demeanor is different. She was raised in a, generation of you just do it, you don't complain. You just get in there and you do it. You don't have a choice. So incredible woman. And that's inspiration for me. That's so inspiring to, she goes in there, she walks around the gym. She doesn't give any hoots about what anyone's thinking. Like, she has every right to be in that gym as much as any other member. And it's the same for everyone in the gym. That's why I say to the women that are very conscientious about going over into the weights section, you have every right to be here as much as any other member in this section of the gym. And what it's going to do for you is amazing, because you're respecting your body. So
I love that. I love that because it's so true. When I see people like that at the gym, it is so inspiring. And it's like, you see, right there is a good example of age doesn't matter. There is no excuse. All the way down from, you've got the 80-year-old in the gym, you've got the person in a wheelchair with no legs that are just killing it in the gym. And it's just like that to me, when I see people like that, especially the elderly people, and they're working it, and they're, can't, the word that I want is not coming to my head, but they're going at it. Like, that is the most inspiring thing. I even follow somebody on Instagram. This guy must be like 75, 80 years old. And so you've never seen my cardio routine, but it's very athletic. It's very creative. I jump around. Oftentimes people are just like, are you going on one of the shows, Ninja Warrior or something like that? So to kind of give you an idea, that's how creative it is. I got some of my ideas from this 75, 80-year-old guy that's jumping around, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I love seeing people like that. Lastly, I want to add into the menopausal thing. I love how you kind of beautified it, and you talked about it kind of like the way I really think that it does need to be handled nowadays, especially menopause nowadays. And I wrote a resource booklet for it on my website as a resource for clients going through that menopausal stage. The sad part about it is, back in the day, it was never the war zone that it is today. Women today experience severe symptoms of that, and it's a horrible time for them. And I love how, I love the love language that you're bringing around that, and the reflection you're bringing around that. The one thing I want to add to that too is that, ladies, one of the things that you also need to realize, if you're experiencing severe symptoms, a lot of those severe symptoms is coming from the big food industry, the processed foods, the boxed foods, and all that other stuff. It is throwing your hormones way further off, and it's creating the war zone that most women experience today. And it was never meant to be that. It actually, believe it or not, is meant to be kind of a gentle process. You might experience the hot flashes like Aldwyn does and different things like that, but it's not meant to be some kind of miserable war zone either.
No.
So anyhow, that's
there's a lot of resistance against it, and especially with stigma. Oh gosh, I remember when I was in my early 20s, and I wasn't. My boss said something to me, and then his thing was, "Oh, she must be on her period." And I remember going into his office, and I was only like, I think I was straight out of high school, but I just said, you may be my boss, but never say that to me again. Because it was, so it's way back then, and then the thing of that I want to change too is like, menopause is so hard. It's not. Menopause is challenging, and there are solutions of what you can choose to do to respond to that challenge in more self-loving ways. And is it all the things that I was saying before? Like, are you nurturing yourself? Are you doing these things to look after your body? And you're right about, the food, but there's also, it can also be used as a second thing to have in the background. How do I explain this? A friend said to me the other day, he was talking about his wife and the way that she was being a little bit grumpy of late. And he said, can you just help me understand more about perimenopause and what it's about? Because he wants to be there to understand it, to learn it, and support her in many ways. And I just said, well, to start off with, is it the perimenopause, or is she actually just completely stressed out, rattled, and a bit burnt out? Like they are two different things, and it's easy to fall back on that as an excuse. So it's the same, and there's not taking away from anyone. I know that some women experience, really very challenging symptoms, and they do need help with that. But if you don't have your self-love cup full, or your self-love cake with all its ingredients baked nicely, then then of course those other things, you're not going to be at capacity. You're at too much capacity, where you're not responding to those challenges in a self-loving way.
Yes, well said. I love that. Now let's go over to some of the chat here. Now, Corinda, love you, Corinda, amazing guy. 118 episodes, absolutely. I can't look. Ken and I have been going longer than a lot of marriages with this show, and and we've never actually met in person, interestingly. We met online at a networking event through COVID, and here we are 3-4 years later now, and we've been very consistent with this show. In fact, we've been doing Total Truth Show every week or every second week since we started, and this time we've had a bit of a gap, and Linda's saying, have we had tech issues? No, we haven't had tech issues. I've just got sidetracked with other things. Ken got sidetracked with other things. He's actually put 2 books together in the last 6 weeks. I've been working on a whole lot of things, so no doubt he'll tell us more about that. There's one there, yay. So no, we've just got sidetracked with other things, Corinda, and Ken was like, book a time, let's make some more times, and we just didn't have more times listed. And of course, if you don't put it in the calendar, it doesn't happen, right? So that's what happens. So there's no specific reason that we haven't had a show for 6 weeks. It's just that we just got sidetracked with other things. I went to Sydney, and there was a whole lot going on. So anyway, here we are back on track. Now, let's see. Corinda's got a few questions. Okay, this is a great question from Corinda. Who supports or inspires you on your journey, Carol?
Ooh, great question.
Gosh. The list is endless for the inspiration part of that question. Anyone that I can keep educating myself with, learning more about, especially in the fitness world. Dr. Stacey Sims, she's brilliant. She's has a PhD in exercise science. Just Google her. She's got so much information out there about especially midlife women, and how a lot of the data has been coming through in previous years based on men and exercise, not the female body, our with different composition, different hormones and all of that. So the information there is great. I went and listened to her with a friend the other night up in Brisbane. Actually, she came out. She's an American living in New Zealand. I think that's the case. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But and she just delivers so much information about strength training, the importance of it for women with, to build their lean muscle mass so that it can help with bone density. There's so many different things that are coming out now that are in favor of women. Inspiration, there's so many people that I've Peter Crone, Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO podcast. So many people that I'm always listening to that fills my knowledge bank, because another self-love ingredient is having an open mindset and wanting to learn and using your brain, especially the older you get. Just keep using your brain, because the outcome's a lot better. So and who supports me? This is a really great one. Straight away, I've got a beautiful relationship with both my adult children, and I've got beautiful friends, amazing male friends as well, that it balances that out for me, not just girlfriends. But I've got a couple of really great girlfriends that nothing's off the charts. You can just talk how you're feeling, and that's the support you need. You need to know that you're loved, you're being seen, you're being heard, you're acknowledged. when you've got those things. And those, it's back to relationships again. They're relationships that you need to work on. It can't just be one way, and the more that you grow within, the more that you can outgrow people, and that's okay. Those relationships may not be what they used to. You can just drift gently from them, or sometimes it's a hard, abrupt stop. But if you're doing the work with things, learning more, expanding your own world, then you will outgrow some relationships. So, but the relationships that I have with friends, I've got a beautiful friend, been friends with her since I was 7. So, seen a lot. We're not in each other's pockets, but we've seen a lot. We've always supported each other, so that's who supports and inspires me on my journey. Corinda, I hope that answered that nicely.
Great question there, Corinda. And I think, what I've found is the more personal development work I've done, the more self-love I've had as well. Because for a long time, I was a people pleaser. And I was always worried about what other people thought. And, if someone didn't, was nasty to me, I think, oh gosh, what have I done? What have I done that they don't like me, and all this kind of stuff. And, I had issues from childhood, being bullied and never feeling like I belonged, and, feeling abandoned, and all this sort of stuff that came up for me as a child as well, even though I wasn't like, I had beautiful, loving parents. So actually there was no reason for me to have that, but I was bullied at school, and kids were very, very nasty at school. And I also grew up watching a lot of negative news, which also didn't help my self-love either, because I thought, well, the world is so nasty, and why would you even want to live here? Because, if you just watch the news all day, 99% negative news, or CNN equals constant negative news, and this is what we can get. And so, no wonder we have such an epidemic of mental health issues and suicide rates around the world. And so, hence I grew up with a lot of depression. And so I went to this personal development course back in, well, it was a Landmark Education, actually, I did back in 2006. And it was one of the most powerful courses that I've done. And it was based on neuroscience and how we operate as human beings. And there was something they said in Landmark, and they said that, if someone's being nasty to you, it's not about you, it's actually about them. And that was like a real reframe for me. It was like, oh my gosh, it's not about me. It's actually, there's nothing wrong with me, actually. Everything is in divine order. Everything's perfect just as it is, in its imperfections and whatever, so it's actually just a slight little reframe there can make the world a difference. And I think that leads in nicely to Corinda's next question. What mistakes or setbacks does Carol experience, and how do you deal with them? So mistakes or setbacks, so what sort of mistakes or setbacks do you experience, or have you experienced, and how do you deal with them?
So I don't actually even say the word mistake. It doesn't actually, I don't feel it comes into my life. I just think, oh, it's a lesson.
Yes.
How do I deal with them? So, okay, so something happens left of field, and you observe it, you pause, you sit back, you reflect on it, you get curious about it, and then you respond to it. If you're missing all of those little steps and something happens and you react to it, it means that it's bringing up something in you that's not fully healed. So it's definitely an actionable skill to learn, and that is exactly what you've done, Aldwyn, going to these things, learning. And it's so beautiful. I had a really a friend the other day say to me, with a challenge that she's been presented with at the moment, at that time, that she actually was happy with the way that she responded to it, because she felt a calm through all of that. And those things happen because, she's experienced adversity like we all have. We've all had challenges in life, but with those ones, she got more curious about them over time. So therefore, when it does come up, you don't react so quickly, because you're like, oh, exactly what you're saying. Like if someone's very angry, very angry with you, it's like, oh, well, that's actually a displacement within themselves. And you're not saying it egotistically, like you're better than them or anything. You're just like going, okay, they've got some stuff happening, and it's just been directed at me. Yeah,
The
but there's
whole
more. There's more
mindset,
to this.
the whole mindset that you have around that is similar to the mindset that I teach my clients. And so one of the things that I teach in their weight loss journey is the embracing process. That's also a big part of my framework. And I was just on a call with one of my clients the other day, and we were talking about this. So basically what I teach around this is, first of all, in your journey, you are going to have the moments where you fall off the horse. You're going to have the moments where you're going to have those weak moments. They're going to happen because you're human. This is not a time for you to stop and begin again at a more convenient time. This is not a time for you to beat yourself up over that time. This is not a time for any of that. This is a time to embrace that as leverage now. That is now your growth point. You get to now learn from that, grow from that, get better from that, and get wiser from that. Ask yourself questions like, how did I get here? What were the trigger points? What things can I put into place so this doesn't happen so easily next time? So on and so forth. That's what gets to happen, because those are the milestones that are going to be the treasure in your journey. And so what I mean by that is, unpacking that a little further, the treasure part is you'll get to your weight goal and there is going to be a celebration around that. However, all of the gold, all of the treasure, all of the gems, it's going to be back there in the journey, on everything you learned through that journey, every milestone you hit, every lesson you learned. That's the real part of it. Not very many people teach that.
No, I totally agree with you. And I actually call that, so say you have a really big challenge in your life many years ago or something, and then I call that the apprenticeship
Ooh, I
to
like that word.
to the next thing that comes along, which is of similar nature. I'm like, so then you respond to it so much, oh yeah, that situation back then was my apprenticeship to this happening now. And
Yeah, that's cool. I love that too. And I always remember, hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. It's not about you, my friends. And heal people as well. And I love the fact that, I don't like the word mistakes either. I look at it as challenges as well. I look at, okay, challenges come to us and we're either hit with a feather, a brick, or a Mack truck, as they say, right? So if we don't get the lesson when the feather comes, we're going to get hit in the head with a brick. And then if we don't get that, then the truck will come and knock us over, right? So notice the signs in life and the learnings that come our way, because I truly believe, God, whoever you believe in, or whatever you believe in, the universe, etc., does not give us any challenges too big that we can't handle. So I love this apprenticeship, and it's kind of like life is an apprenticeship. My beautiful father, he's 87, he's had 4 heart attacks, prostate cancer, diabetes, and he's chugging along. And my mum's in a nursing home now with dementia and can't walk and whatever at 81. And I think, well, every day is a blessing. Every moment is a blessing. And my darling dad, he's 87, and he said he still feels like he's 20. He still feels like he's 20. And that's the thing, is life goes that quick. When you look at all of eternity and you look at our life here, I mean, at least this version of reality of life that we know goes that quick. And so why is it that we're presented with the same kinds of challenges until we get it, or the same kinds of relationships and partners until we get whatever it is we need to learn? So as an example of that, I know that I have suppressed my anger over the years, as an example, right? My dad always said anger is danger. And so what's happened through my life, I've attracted men that have no problem expressing their anger, right? Now, so, because I've suppressed my anger. And underneath anger is sadness. Underneath sadness is anger. So actually just getting conscious to this. And nowadays I, can release my anger a lot easier than I could in the past because I'm actually conscious of this without actually harming anybody else. But, you can release your anger through exercise. You can release it through screaming or dancing or, shake it out of your body. I often do a lot of shaking. I shake out the anger. I shake out I do a lot of energetic work. I do a lot of cleansing and, all of that to help release any dark entities or, darkness, dark, energy forces that can be around as well. So when it comes to self-love too, notice if you get shaken up by what other people do that you cannot control. Okay, this could be a challenge or a setback for you if you get triggered by what somebody else does. And I think we've all been triggered by what other people do. However, I think that through the journey of life, to find this place of joy and peace and enlightenment, which are the highest vibrations we will feel as human beings, right? To actually come to this place or to appreciate this place, we're going to have to move through the roller coaster ride of life. And of course, we're all going to have our setbacks or challenges. When you have them, how quickly can you move through it and move up and get the learning and study the apprenticeship or learn what you need to learn and then move to the next level in life. And this is the constant journey that we have through life. So yes, fascinating conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, definitely. A mentor of mine once said to me, I was coming out of a relationship years ago, and I just said, I just feel that I'm just pushing through a big, thick, muddy swamp. Like, oh, come on. And she said, stop. She said, allow yourself to be carried. Just allow yourself to be carried on the journey. And since then, like when she said it, I felt this weight lifted off my shoulders. And since then, it's when something happens, I go, oh, that's interesting. Why has that crossed my path? I wonder why that has come into my life. Oh gosh, that wasn't, why did I do that? Like even years ago, I, flipped someone off because they were beeping their horn at me in the traffic, and I had just come from some beautiful event with a group of people, and for the next 20 minutes, I'm like, why did I do that? I didn't make it about the person who was bipping the horn. I made it about me. Like, why did I react like that? Why did I react so quickly? And then I broke it down. Well, it's because they're disrespecting me, and then where does that come from? So you just go back in your timeline. Oh, that's why I felt like that. And that's where that emotion came from. And also too, when these things, let's bring up an emotion of sadness, like you really sad about someone's behavior or something, your expectation for one, our sneaky expectations let us down a lot, so that you've got an expectation and something didn't turn out the way that you did, and you've got this feeling, like where is that feeling sitting in your body? Like when you sit and be present with it, is it in your throat? Is it in your heart? Is it in your down, in your belly, your lower belly? Where is that feeling? I'm going to sit with that feeling and let it just gently dissolve. Wait for it to not force it, just sit with it and gently dissolve. And that could take half an hour, it could take an hour. But then the same time, the same trigger comes along in the next week, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's that feeling again. It's the same feeling. You're not making it about them. You're not blaming, nothing. It's the same feeling. It's come into my body again. I'm just going to sit with you again and give you some love. And then it just dissolves a little bit quicker. And then it comes again the next week. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's gone within 5 minutes. And then when it happens again, you're like, I know you. Yep. Okay. It's all good. I get it. I know why I feel like the way I do right now. Does that make sense?
Yes. Generally, when we're stopped in life with something, there's some kind of fear at the base of that. And that fear usually goes right back to up until the age of 7. Something happened. We made it mean something. And then, after that, we just get triggered all the time by things. You
Yeah.
know, I know stuff comes up for me around rejection, around abandonment, around not feeling like I belong. Hence, I've joined just about every bloody course out there because I've just wanted to belong to all these communities because I've never felt that I belonged anywhere. And that's just the path of the entrepreneur, being the rebel, right? Being the one that stands out. It's the path
100%.
you know, you probably.
I mean, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't have all those, my timeline, the things that happen, and you know, just the challenges I had. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But I find it very fulfilling as well. Yeah, yeah. There's generally a thread right through your life of
There
something,
is.
an emotion there that keeps on coming back. And you're like, oh, you're back again. And I call it the self-doubt monster, the little self-doubt monster. You can paint you can get really creative with what he looks like, but he just sits on your shoulder, he or she. They sit on your shoulder and whisper little bits of self-doubt into your ear, especially on that entrepreneurial journey. And you just got to go, get off. You don't belong there anymore.
Yes, exactly. And again, being compassionate with yourself and being loving with yourself. And, you know, for me, it's been a massive journey of a lot of inner work, particularly the last few years. I've done a lot of women's circle events, a lot of, you know, coming into my body. And this is where I love yoga. I absolutely love yoga because you're doing the breath work, you're stretching, you're nurturing your body. And you know, it's like a whole self-love exercise doing yoga. It's a great way to connect with spirit or God as well. I just absolutely love it. And I do notice if I don't do yoga for a few days, because you know, I'll stretch in the morning, etc. But I love actually going to a yoga class, going to, you know, and doing things like sound baths and sound healings, which of course Hippocrates has lots of them.
Yes.
You know, they're fantastic as well. So
because you're in that energetic container. Like we've got an energetic container between the three of us right now that's expanding out to the world and sending that ripple effect, because it's, we're here to help, we're here to be of service and make the world a better place. So, but when you go to anything with that energetic container, it's nice. It's a good feel. And that's what you want to be in. And you know 100% when it's not the right space to be in. You're like, ooh, okay, coming out of that. Don't need to be around that. That's not in alignment for me. It doesn't bring me joy. It's not keeping me up here. Yeah,
exactly. And we have been conditioned towards negativity. Out of the 60,000 thoughts that most humans have every day, 80% are negative for most people, you know, because back in the caveman days, we've been conditioned to look out for the dangers, you know, and so this is where there's this negativity bias that naturally happens with human beings. And so to actually remain positive and to elevate your vibration, it takes some work, right? It's actually our natural state of being, but we've been conditioned out of it. We've been conditioned out of it by, you know, society and by, you know, I mean, look how much mistrust there is now. You know, people say, oh yeah, I want a relationship, I'm open to a relationship. Then the minute it gets too close, they run away because they're scared of getting hurt. You know, this happens again and again and again. It's happened in my life. I've seen the people around me, you know. So notice, what are you scared of? What are you fearing? And, you know, Corinda's asking here, are there specific thoughts or worries that seem to be causing stress for the client? So I guess to reframe that, what worries do you find mostly, or what thoughts come up for a lot of your clients that get really stuck? What have you noticed? Has there been a trend there at all, Karen?
I think with what you said before about the people pleasing, really, we all want to be loved and accepted by everyone, don't we? So, and people pleasing can put us out of alignment with who we truly are. And just knowing, you know, if you're a kind and honest person, then that's, you know, that's enough, isn't it? That's all we need to focus. If you're kind and honest, you're going to attract the right people into your life. And I'm meaning kind of not a people pleasing way where you stepping out off your path to make it, you know, things happen. But if you're just generally happy, kind, honest person, the goodness will come. Just starts to come.
Yes,
like even this, you know, like I've created a women's circle, and I met Ronald at Hippocrates. I'd never met him before, but I put it on the local community page, you know, looking at creating a women's circle in the area to build a community of that. And someone mentioned Hippocrates. So then I go there and I meet lovely Ronald, and the energetic feeling there is just so lovely. I'm like, oh, this is great. And his mission, what he's on, is really admirable as well, providing this beautiful space for people that want to hold events. And then he said, "You've got to speak to this lady, Aldwyn." I'm like, okay, so it's kind of like just goes from that to that to that to that. And then you don't need to know what's at the end of the journey. You don't need to know. You just go on it, go on the journey where it's taking you, and suddenly now I'm, sitting in my lounge room talking to two great like-minded people and sharing a bit more love in the world. It's so good, right?
So
It's so
great.
good.
The flow of life, right? When you're in flow and you're in the zone, it's amazing the synchronicities that can happen. And shout out to Ronald Bradley. He is an extraordinary man. He's a founder of the Hippocrates Centre at Madraba, fantastic wellness health retreat space in Madraba. Now he's 82 years of age and he's extraordinary. He's a great example of what he preaches. He doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk as well. And he's very sharp, he's very healthy. And I believe he eats all raw food. As far as I know, he's vegetarian, all raw food, has wheatgrass, has his supplements, etc. each day. And he's a great example of, how to live a long, healthy life. And, I'm sure he feels he's going to be living another 50 years or whatever. But, I did a little interview with Ronald on my socials a little while ago, and it just goes to show that whether you're vegetarian or whether you're a meat eater, you can be healthy at any age. And that's maybe we'll do the truth about meat, being a meat eater or a vegetarian on another show, but Ken and I have our differing opinions around that. But again, whatever lights you up.
I'm in between.
Yeah.
I've done carnivore.
One thing that I will
I've done
say
carnivore
there,
and I've done vegetarian as well.
So one thing that I will say there. So number one, I don't want to open up a can of worms because we are at the hour and 20-minute mark. We've got to start wrapping up here soon. But this is what I'll say. Now, I have done a lot of deep research, around vegetarians, even vegan, all of that stuff. Okay, there to give some people the benefit of the doubt, there's about 15% of them that do it right and are definitely getting good nutrition. However, even in those people that do it right, I often find they have to take supplements because it is extremely hard for you to get all the nutrition you need on a vegetarian diet. And I also add to that, it is extremely hard for you to lose weight being a vegetarian. Extremely hard. Why is that? Because you're not eating satiated foods anymore. You're eating foods that you're constantly feeling hungry because the foods you're eating are not satiating. All right, now, what about the 75 to 80, or what about the 80 to 85% of the majority of the people out there? 80 to 85% of the majority of the people that are out there that don't really know what they're doing. They're just going vegan or vegetarian because that's what they want to do and they think it's better for them. They may feel good at the start, and a lot of people do. And they go on like that for about a year, maybe a little longer. Eventually, study after study, article after article that I've read through, eventually, down the line, these people become nutritionally deficient. God did not design us to be vegetarians. In Genesis chapter 9 in the Bible, he gave us all living creatures for consumption. That's our nutrients. Animal-based proteins and foods are packed full of nutrition, vitamins, minerals. As a matter of fact, eggs are actually a superfood. For the longest time, I touted red meat as high on the list. It was number one. Yes. Through my research and study, I found out no, eggs are actually pasture-raised eggs. Got to be specific here. Pasture-raised eggs are actually number one on the list. They surpass red meat because they have all the essential vitamins and minerals that anyone needs. They're low in calories. Now, I don't teach my clients to count calories, but they're low in calories, They're packed full of protein and nutrients and all kinds of good stuff, oils and selenium, choline, like all of it. It's like packed into that egg. And it's so good for you. When you're eating like the animal proteins and things like eggs, you become satiated. Every one of my clients that has followed the plan that I have for them as far as animal-based proteins and prioritizing proteins, it's interesting. All of a sudden, without too much discipline, the snacking issues go away. The hunger issues go away. It just kind of dissipates. Why? Because they're satiated.
Yep, 100%. You know, if you boiled a dozen eggs every Sunday and you had those boiled eggs just sitting in your fridge, which is generally what I do, it's such a great snack. It's such a great snack.
It is.
It's just, yeah, you're not hungry after it.
Mm-mm. It's the greatest
6 grams
hack
of
in the
protein.
world. And you can take those hard-boiled eggs anywhere and just pop one when you need one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
An egg.
So we won't go down that rabbit hole, but whichever way
Yeah.
you choose to go it, my friends, for me I would love to be 100% vegetarian. However, I have found that challenging, I must say. And mainly for me, the big issue is the ethical side of it. I don't like to think of myself eating animals. I don't like to think of where the animals have come from. I've seen a lot of shocking images and videos of animal cruelty through the meat industry and the dairy industry. And I think it's something to be very mindful of when we're working in this energetic field. We are 99.9% energy frequency vibration. Now, if you're going to eat an animal that has been traumatized or even have cheese or milk from an animal that's been traumatized, and I think about the poor dairy cows, how the babies get taken away from them at a young age. And oh my gosh, it's just heartbreaking when you look at what goes on behind the scenes in the dairy industry. Absolutely heartbreaking. And so for me, it's a very much an ethical, moral issue, as well as, I've seen some very, very healthy vegans and vegetarians. So I think, you've got to do what you feel is right for you. And I think it's important not to make others wrong about their choices either. And I'm not against people eating meat. For me, it's about the humane treatment of the animals while they're alive. And I think there are many humane ways to do things. And there's alternatives to cow milk, because I don't think we're meant to be suckling from cows either for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
I think, almond milk, oat milk, or do your own research on different types of milk that are plant-based, that are very healthy.
One last thing that I'll say here. So, Aldwyn, I do agree that animal treatment needs to be a heck of a lot better, for sure. I 100% agree with you, and I understand your heart around that. And so here's where we need to slowly get back to. See, the thing of it is we have, over the years, we have evolved into a convenience lifestyle. But what did our ancient, so number one, let's go beyond our ancient ancestors. So I'm not even going to touch that. And I'm just going to go, okay, traditional farm practices. We need to get back to those kind of things. We need to get back to supporting our local farmers, our local people that are actually raising their animals correctly. And actually, the nutrition that is found in those kind of meats is actually even better than what's found in the markets and stuff like that. We do need to be careful on what is out there in the markets and kind of be selective with what we get and different things like that. There are a lot of other reasons behind that as well, besides just the animal treatment. It's also what they're being fed. It's also what they're being injected with and all of that other stuff. It's scary. So in that aspect, I'm going to say, as much as possible, if you've got a local farmer next to you or nearby you that you can support and go get meat from them and go get some of your dairy from them, that's the preferred thing, because then you're actually supporting small businesses. You're taking your money, you're empowering those farmers, and you're speaking your voice with your dollar. In other words, you're refusing to give it to these big companies, and you'd rather give it to the farmers. So that's what I'll say around that.
Yeah.
And if I can say something,
Go for it.
On my screen, I'm in the middle of you too. So it's
That's
so good to
okay.
have these two different opinions happening. I'm like, whoo, whoo, whoo. But it's the thing. I'm going to segue it back to self-love.
Yeah, go
Is
for it.
that
on
yeah?
you, Carol.
When
On
you
track. Thank you.
We go back and forth all the time. Aldwyn and I are like that, so don't worry about it. There's
so
no tension or anything.
I'm
We
coming
go
in as
on
a
tangents
facilitator
all
now.
the time.
No, but when it comes to self-love, it's having your belief of what is right for you intuitively for your body and your belief system, and staying in your lane with that and being comfortable and secure in your lane with that. So that's my little segue back into self-love. But great
100%.
points from both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. And see, Ken and I, we have differing opinions, but, I don't love him any less. He's a great man. And, regardless of his choices, I don't dislike him.
It brings balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely brings balance. And he's still an awesome human being, even though he eats meat. So, it's a bit like that. So, but each to their own, right? Each to their own. If I see someone who's cruel to animals, well, that's a whole other story. That's when my anger will be coming out big time. If I see someone hitting an animal, I'll be wanting to hit them without a doubt, right? Now, bringing peace and compassion to someone who's cruel to animals is a very difficult thing. Although remembering hurt people. If you do see any animal cruelty, make sure you get it on camera. Make sure you take videos, photos of it. I'm not suggesting put yourself into danger, but you definitely want to be reporting it. And I'm not suggesting violence, although there definitely will be inklings of me wanting to be violent with someone who's violent to animals. But that's how I feel personally. That's just how strongly I feel about it. Hence why I've done 19 years of animal action events, and I've got my own little animal menagerie going on here. Each to their own.
It's important, right? when you do come along though with those times too. It's important that if something has really rattled you, that you take the time to reset your nervous system after that as well, because you don't want to be caught up in tension seeks resolution, right? And if you're caught up in that tension all the time and there's no resolution to it, so bring the nervous system back down, fill your self-love cup so that you can go on your mission and be in your lane more in a more loving way. Love for self, love for others.
Yes, thank you, Carol. And I did notice this morning on my way back from the beach, there was a four-wheel drive driver, and it's something about people in four-wheel drives that think that they own the roads. But he hooted. I was going around a roundabout, and he hooted at me. I'm like, well, I'm on the roundabout. I felt myself getting a bit of road rage over this guy in a four-wheel drive, and I thought he's probably got a small what's-her-name, because I have this story about people in four-wheel drives and big cars that have small what's-her-names. You know what I mean? So I had this whole story going on, and then I thought, well, then just chill out. He's probably got issues going on, issues in the tissues, just brush it off. But it's interesting how one little hoot of the horn can and you go,
because it comes down to I'm being disrespected in some way, or how dare they do that. It's just you justify you've got rights to kind of thing. It's right. Seeking justification, justice, seeking justice. That's Absolutely. What it is.
Yeah, and I've noticed that people in big cars often have small weenies. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. So,
that's your narrative and your bias.
Oh my goodness! Wait, now who's going back and forth, you two?
On the topic of self-love, apparently size doesn't matter when it comes to self-love, because you can love yourself exactly as you are and exactly as you're not, and all is in divine order. So anyway, moving right along.
We need to wrap up.
We do need to wrap up soon. We do need to. Now, Corinda's got more questions in here. He says, Black Friday deals. Do you have any Black Friday deals, any products that you sell, Carol?
No, I don't have any Black Friday deals, but my suggestion with that is to value yourself enough to invest in yourself. Yeah, I cannot tell you, trying to, teach someone about coming to a personal trainer, are you willing? That's one of our questions. Are you willing to invest in yourself? Same with self-love mentoring. Are you willing to invest with yourself? How do you feel now? How do you want to feel in the future? Invest in yourself. There's so many things that it's kind of like, Corinda, I'm not saying this about yourself, but it's like this sense of entitlement. Well, no, there's got to be some discount. There's got to be something. Well, hang on a minute. No, you're not valuing, really, with everything that, combined on here with research and courses that we've done, and I'm speaking on the behalf of both of you as well, but the thousands of dollars that would have been invested. I know just within my journey, the money that's invested into getting us to where we are today is because we believed in it ourselves more. Mm-hmm. We wanted to know more. And when you like that, you go, okay, I need to invest in this. I'm going to a conference in Sydney very soon, a weekend. It's a fitness conference. Well, how much was it? Yep, you know what? It's a great investment. It's a great investment in myself because I'm going to learn. It's a great investment for my clients because they're going to get the ripple effect of the things that I'm learning. So investing in yourself. No Black Friday specials with the self-love affair. Sorry.
I would agree with you there, Carol. Definitely invest in yourself. I've invested over $1 million in my business and personal development the last 20 years. And at the same time, be careful of investing in yourself and being a shopaholic, as I've also been. And, because one thing that I used to do as a kid with my mum, we'd go shopping and it would bring a lot of joy. And now I've lived in the same house for 23 years and I have collected and collected and collected. And now I've so much self-love. I've got stuff everywhere, right? So you want to be careful of that as well. You want to have balance and also be willing to let go of stuff that no longer serves you as well. So I'll add that to that.
I'm very minimalistic. That's another part of my journey, but very minimalistic. It's just stuff.
Right. Yes. Well, there's probably a thing or two I could learn from you there, Carol, on that, because I do like my stuff, I must say. I do like my stuff. Now, Corinda's got a great podcast as well, which she's had me on that podcast, called Empowerment Extend. And the podcast is all about amplifying voices, exploring diverse perspectives, and fostering conversations that inspire personal growth. And Corinda would love to have you on his show. So with that segue, how can people connect with you, Carol?
The best way for all my contact details is on my website. So it's my name. So it's www.carolrobinson.com.au because I'm in Australia. So yeah, that's it. It's got my social links on there and email and yeah.
I'll share that up on the screen. And while I'm doing that, do you have a favorite quote or motto you'd like to share with us today?
I did share one before, which had recently come into my life about the certainty of misery is more appealing than the uncertainty. In other words, like people stay in things because it's comfortable and, without going to being uncomfortable. But one that did stay with me for many years was the cure for the pain is in the pain. So instead of deflecting away from it, get curious about it, dive into it, sit in it. What can you learn from it? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a really, really good one. Okay, so Corinda, reach out to Carol there to have her on your show. I'm sure she would love that. Yes, next show will be 119, next episode, and that is going to be next week. So stay tuned for who our guests will be for episode 119. Now, if you do have more questions, just pop them in the comments wherever you're viewing this stream. And we'll come to those. Corinda's asking, how is the client's body's reaction to stress, heart rate, muscle tension, headaches, fatigue? What is their reaction to stress? It's an interesting thing to actually be conscious of your body's reaction to stress, what actually happens. Any thoughts on that?
Well, all different variables happen, but it's basically the nervous system, is very agitated. And that little part in our brain called the amygdala, it switches on and can take over and just scramble the front part of that brain where you can't make the correct, choice at that time. And when you know that's going on, then you just, need to take a deep breath.
Yes, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Good question there, Corinda. Thank you so much. Corinda says, I always support your show. Yes, you do. We love you, Corinda. You're awesome. We love you, love
Yes,
you.
we
And he's given
do.
us,
It's awesome.
Thank you.
sent us some stars as well. Yay. And Corinda's very big in the disability community as well. So he does a great job there for neurodivergent, and which Ken and I have both been, we both think we might be a little bit ADHD, just a wee bit. So I've been.
I was born ADHD, so I'm
Well,
legitimately ADHD.
So we're a true entrepreneur because most of them are ADHD,
Yeah.
apparently. But then it's just another way of labeling things, isn't it? And I still have a lot of self-love, and it's a superpower, and it doesn't make you any worse or any, this whole disability, disabled. It's almost like you're not abled. Even in the term disability is interesting, isn't it? Like
It is a true statement.
I think it just means you have superpowers in other areas. You might maybe not be as competent in some areas, but other areas you're absolute bloody super trooper. So anyway, so
There's
that's that.
space in this world for everyone.
Yes. Corinda says, is that Expo conference, he's going to Sydney. What is the Expo conference you're going to in Sydney again?
It's with Clean Health Live. So
Clean Health.
it's a company that has a lot of online courses and things to do with fitness. Yeah.
Awesome.
So some great speakers going, and that's the reason why I'm going.
Fantastic.
To be inspired. And to learn heaps and apply that to my own business.
Well done. See, because you're investing in yourself. Isn't that right?
Right.
Definitely love to have Carol on the show. Yay. So I'll leave it to you. Now, Ken, over to you, my friend. What's your quote today that you'd like to share with us? What's your quote? And then we'll come to how people can connect with you.
Oh, quote. Wow. See, that's what happens when you've gone 6 weeks and you haven't done a true show. Like, I forgot to set myself up with a quote. Nonetheless, I will say this. So this is this is a slogan that's through my boot camp. It's not just a slogan. It's something that I deeply teach. And my goal and I have achieved that goal as well. Every person that comes through my boot camp, when they go to the store, they're going to think of me and say this phrase. When they buy something, or when they, when they look and they turn it over, they're going to think of me. So the phrase is, turn the freaking thing over. We need to start learning how to do that, and how to do it as a habit and just as a regular thing. I don't care what it is. I don't care how healthy it's touted itself. Turn the freaking thing over. So that would be my quote.
Great
and
one. Just on that, as in read the label and take a magnifying glass if you can't see it properly. So yes, adding to that.
I love that. Now into how you can connect with me. So before I get into, the link to connect with me. So first of all, you guys, if you didn't pick up on it, I got a new book out. All right. And plus I also have a mastery weight loss journal out, and I made that in dedication to my clients. So you can find both of these on Amazon, or you can go to www.masteryweightloss.com, and there's actually a book tab on my site, and you can actually, you click on the books themselves and it will send you to the Amazon link to get the books. Go get this book, you guys. This is powerful. Mastery, the anti-diet revolution. You won't be sorry you got this book. It's a great investment, and there's also ways you can connect with me inside that book. Right now, you guys, I'm giving away my 3 secrets to help you feel energized, lose weight, and get healthy without starving or dieting. In just 3 one-on-one powerful sessions with me, live and in person, I expose the 3 biggest lies that are keeping people sick, stuck, and overweight, because that's how that industry makes money. And I show them how they can fuel their body God's way and finally break free and keep the weight off for life once they've lost it sustainably, all without a diet. To get in, that is a mini educational boot camp series that I have. And it's not a workout plan. It's not an eating plan. It is a foundation that you will come out on the other end standing on, and you will never be moved from again. I can guarantee that. There's a shock factor to it. Yes, there is. In a good way, though. It sets you free. So how you can connect with me and join my boot camp as well is you can go to www.masteryweightloss.com/connect. It's just a real basic, simple connection page that I designed for people to connect with me. At the top, the very first button is the link to join my boot camp. The other buttons below, there's a link to follow me on Facebook. There's a link to my YouTube channel. Lastly, there's a button in there to book a free strategy call with me. Maybe you're not ready to join my boot camp yet. Get on a free strategy call with me. At least let me connect with you, find out where you are, and let me help point you in the correct direction to go and unpack that for you and give you a strategy moving forward. So that's how you can get into my world, www.masteryweightloss.com/connect.
Yay. Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you. And I've just popped another link in here directly for Carol's event on Saturday. So you can actually get that right here at hippocrates.com.au. You can register for the event. It is a free event this Saturday. So it's the 29th of November, 2025. And it's at 2 p.m. Queensland time. So if you hop along there to hippocrates.com.au, so that's HIPPO, like hippo, and then CRATES.com.au/events. In there, you can actually go and register for the event. It gives you more information about what it's all about. So hop along there. Hippocrates have some awesome events in Madraba. It's in Julie Way in Madraba. They have amazing sound healings, all sorts of really cool stuff. I actually recently did the Gold Coast first overnight sound healing puja, gong puja experience with Leith James. It was extraordinary. And I know Alex Bastion is coming up with his sound healing coming up, I believe, on Sunday as well, this Sunday afternoon. I did a live interview with Alex as well recently. So check all of those out. Now, for those who want to connect with me, just hop along to linktree/Aldwyn. That's linktr.ee/Aldwyn. We have some free resources there if you want to get on TV, radio, print, get on online podcasts, get yourself out there, get some clarity around your messaging, then reach out. I can definitely help you be seen, heard, and known through mass media exposure. We also have every single month a global good news challenge, which is free marketing for you, a great way to shift your energy, to get into some self-love by getting into gratitude. Very, very simple live video challenge every month called the Global Good News Challenge. So the link for that is in there as well. We have an 11-day challenge for November. You can start anytime in November, sharing gratitude and good news. And then December, we have a 12-day challenge. So all the details are pinned to the top of that Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. We recently released Fear to Freedom, Series 1 as well. We are inviting authors to come in for Series 2, Fear to Freedom, to share their chapters and their journey in that book as well. So if you want to find out more about that, reach out to me on there and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. It looks very much like that. You will see that photo there, Aldwyn Altuney Media Queen TV. We have over 1,600 videos there now, lots of inspiring content, a lot of amazing interviews in there as well. So recommend reach out there. Now, my self-love, I'm going to share a few quotes actually today around self-love. I like this one here by Rupi Kaur. How you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. How you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. And this one here, this is by Lucille Ball. I used to love Lucille Ball. Actually, it's another great
love Lucy. Yep.
Yeah, another great way to build up your self-love is to watch some comedy. You know, have feel good. That's a great feel good experience.
That's an old classic comedy. Slapstick is so great.
Yeah, so good. And Lucille says, love yourself first and everything else falls into line. Love yourself first and everything else falls into line. And there's lots more out there, of course, but they're just two of my favorites. Thank you so much for joining us here on this epic Total Truth Show, episode 118, The Truth About the Self-Love Affair. Thank you so much, Carol, for joining us as our guest. It's been so great to have you on. And Ken, of course, so great to see you again. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
Carol, no, I just want to say I'm actually in the process of doing a brand new YouTube series. It's called Warrior Wednesday Wellsprings. And I'm actually looking for people, so it won't be so much of an interview, but I'd like to pick a topic that we both see eye to eye on. And I'd like to kind of like have a panel discussion on that. So I would love to connect with you and see if we can put together something like that. I mean, I'll give you the raw footage if you want. You can share it out. But I would love to have you as part of that series and find something that we can talk about that we both have in common.
Thank you. That sounds amazing. I'm open to that for sure. Be great. If it's helping
Awesome.
others.
Yeah, absolutely. The way it works is every Wednesday I have an episode that drops. You just we would record it, and then I would do any necessary edits, and then I would schedule it in, and it would drop on one of the Wednesdays and stuff like that. But I would love to have a discussion.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you.
See,
I've really thoroughly enjoyed this experience. It's great.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Carol. Well, thank you for saying yes, right? You said yes. And that's the thing, is you never know what opportunities might come when you start to put yourself out there. You've already got 2 other podcast opportunities now from this show alone. So that is absolutely awesome. Corinda, he can't wait to connect with you. He's saying, where can I get on to Carol again? So just a reminder, go here, carolrobinson.com.au, CAROL, Robinson, ROBINSON.com.au. There's a good song about Mrs. Robinson, isn't there?
Yes,
anyway,
I've had it sung to me many, many times.
Mrs. Robinson. Anyway, yes, that song. I love that song. And Corinda's asking, who do we have on our next show? Well, Corinda, we have a few people in the wings, not confirmed just yet, although we will be back on live around this time next week. So stay tuned. We will be announcing that in the next week who our next guest will be for our episode 119. Thank you so much once again. Thank you whoever's joined us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're tuning in, Spotify, BitChute, Rumble. Thank you so much. Let us know, what did you think of the show? And if you've enjoyed this and think others will enjoy it too, then please share the love, share this show around. We'd love some reviews on Spotify as well. If you've really enjoyed it, want to build that up, and like our Total Truth Show page, all the things. Let's connect on all our socials. Much love. Have a beautiful day. Sending you all much love for the self-love affair. And it's a wrap, and I give you all the clap as well. Yay. See you next time. Bye. See you. Bye. See you later. Bye. See you.